name's John with the Pine Tree. I have the great pleasure of being here with Calaveras Unified Superintendent Mark Campbell. Thanks for joining me.
No, absolutely.
Now, this is going to be not a hard-hitting interview. One of these things, as we talked about, is this is going to be a first piece on interviewing some people on economic development issues. And we know that as for some of our school districts and everything else, is enrollments are down. Some of them have stabilized, some of them not. But also as if we have a lot of people who come up here to visit our area that have second homes in this area. And one of the things that would benefit our economy is a significant way is have you move up here. And we know that one of the things that you look for is quality education for your kids and quality communities. And that I think we offer. So we're going to talk and tell us now. Now if people are coming up here now. Calaveras Unified, and this is an integrated K through 12 district.
Correct.
So tell us a little about the district.
A little bit about the district. We're sitting on a little over 3,000 students right now. We offer preschool through 12th grade education and a full range of after-school programs. So we'll take them from when they're 3 all the way up, sometimes till they're 23. So if you look at the scope of what we offer, I think it's pretty impressive, pretty full service. We are the only unified school district in this county, and actually all the other school districts in our county combined aren't as large as Calaveras Unified.
Understood. Yes.
So that allows us again just to offer a wide range of programs for kids.
Yeah. Now you guys have done tell us about now Calaveras County, if people are familiar, it's a small county, but it is rich in history as far as sports rivalries, extracurricular programs, and everything else. Now tell us about if somebody's moving from this area, even though it has some history and some rivalries and battles, how's some of that stuff work?
Yeah, and actually the battles, so to speak, all good natured,
in a good way.
In a good way. Yeah. but it is because of the close.
I was just thinking of the history. I was thinking it's a nice history. Yeah.
I mean, we have been since 1905. We've been Calaveras High School, at least, has been in operation, and our only high school in the district. The rivalry with Bret Harte High School in Angels Camp is one both academically and musically and athletically is pretty intense in a good way. The kids are friends off the court and off the stage, but you don't see that in many larger areas. You're not going to see that level of intensity channeled in a very good positive way.
Right. Is it to where kids still can't date to another school, or is it okay to date?
No, we don't encourage it. That's frowned upon as it used to be.
Just kidding. No. Some of these rivalries, but one of the things is you guys try to develop well-rounded kids as well, right? I mean, as you have a lot of. I know even with the era of budget cuts, some of the extracurricular programs and everything else. What are some of the programs that are offered?
Yeah, when we have our students walk across the stage of graduation, after we've had them for 13 years, we really hope that we've prepared them in a very well-rounded, holistic way. Budget cuts coming down from the state have made that somewhat of a challenge, but I'm very proud of our school board and proud of our staff that we still offer most every program that you could think of that we offered 4 years ago.
Right.
If I look at it from a high school perspective, we have a phenomenal career tech ed program, where, police science and medicine, auto shop and ag, full spectrum programs where kids are serving our community through these programs. So the chance to become very, very gifted in a career tech ed field is there. We have a full scope of athletic programs, a full scope of music programs and drama. We have not made cuts to the arts, unlike many other districts.
Right.
We have not made significant cuts to athletics. In fact, kids still have the same number of opportunities, if not more so in some of the classes that we offer than they did 5 years ago. So we have music at the middle school, we have music at the elementary school, we have athletics at the middle school, community-funded athletics at the elementary level. So your child coming kindergarten all the way through up has full access to again a well-rounded and I think nicely scoped package.
Right. I guess one of the things is when we've been talking with parents, that send kids to our local districts and stuff here. One of the questions that came out that's kind of interesting is a parent that does the commute. They work in Silicon Valley. They live here in the county. And he brought up the point that moving his kids to a public school here in Calaveras County, he feels is equal to some of the private schools that he had left. And you know, that some ways can be set kind of a high bar.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think that if you balance our communities themselves as an asset with some of the education, I mean, tell us a little about, I mean, some of the experience you've had with some of the parents, and you know, how, kind of maybe their philosophy of, you know, what you want to equip a kid with when they graduate.
You know, it's nice to say that every student's going to college,
Right.
but that's not accurate. Data
Yes.
bears that out.
Yeah.
But we want every kid to have the opportunity to go to college. We want every kid to have the opportunity to make whatever goals and dreams they have for
Right.
themselves possible. So a lot of it is, and this is the beauty of the community, working with the parents. You know, sitting down with that child early on. Where is it that you want to go? And at that point, it's a partnership with the parents, it's a partnership with the staff and with the student to give them all the opportunities and experiences possible for them to be ready to go to that next level. We've had, and you mentioned a parent who came from a private school background. We've heard that before, and that's and I believe that more is a statement about the positive nature of our programs than
Right.
it is an indictment of the private school. But we had people come up and will marvel at what we're able to offer, because we are really a small high school, a little under 1,000. The full scope of honors programs and advanced placement programs, you know, so both the career tech ed folk, there's a pathway for them. Those who want to go to a 4-year school, and we send about 25% of our students every year, seniors, to a 4-year school. Full heavy academic load that they can take, and we've had students in some would say, you know, there's culturally, you know, somewhat deprived
Right.
of a diverse upbringing, but we have so many success stories of students who will graduate from Calaveras High School, and they'll go to a UOP, they'll go to a Stanford, and we have quite a few on the East Coast, and now we're looking at practicing doctors and lawyers. And I just found out one of our young people from the class of 2007 is working for a congressman in
Very
Washington,
nice.
D.C. And they're making it work professionally, but they're also making it work personally,
Right.
because they're bringing their uniqueness from growing up in Calaveras County out into the mainstream, and so they're benefiting themselves, but also others.
Do you think there's anything to this? Is I think one of the things about small, you know, you hear a lot of stuff about immigration these days, and I think especially, you know, as far as business migration and stuff, you have the governor of Texas here recently trying to, you know, get our businesses to move to California. I mean, move to Texas. But I think it's interesting is you know, California is a very rich state as far as diversity. But for an area like Calaveras County, you have lower costs of living, you have lower housing costs, and everything else. So in some ways, they could get some benefits of intrastate migration. You know, you can get your quality of life, still live here in Calaveras County, in California, in Calaveras County, still have state taxes, but your cost of living, move here.
No, I couldn't articulate that any better, because I think especially for people with children.
Right.
And people look because obviously
Right.
you entrust your children to us 6, 7, sometimes 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
You want to know that they're getting properly served and well served, and I can state that unequivocally. Really, any school in our county, not just Calaveras Unified, that smaller environment really lends to a more protective environment. So your child's not just a number,
Right.
not just a name, but we know them and we know you, and it's a lifelong partnership that we're engaged in. That you lose that when you're in a larger community.
Do you think some of that is because, you know, many of the teachers live here locally and everything, is in some ways you're accountable to not only your parents, but you're accountable as a student or as a kid growing up. In some ways, you're accountable to the community. Because
Yeah.
you're going to see your teacher at the grocery store. Or you're going to. Is that
Yeah,
is that a factor as well?
That's a huge factor. You know, and for some of our kids, that's not so much of a blessing as it is a curse, because they know we're just a phone call away. But it is at that level of accountability, but also that level of familiarity.
Yes.
So when I see my teacher in the produce aisle at the local store, you know, I'm not running away from her. I'm not trying to hide from her.
Right.
You know, sometimes I'm amazed that they actually have a life outside of school. Our kids don't really notice that. But when we have parents and teachers who are friends, who are colleagues, and the students see that and know that, and
Yeah.
they know they're cared for, and they know that there's a higher degree of accountability. But also, our schools are such a high profile entity in our community. You know, they're out there serving the community so much that when you're representing a school in a small
Right.
community,
Right.
it carries a greater level of responsibility.
Understood. All right. I guess just to finish up the closing argument, I guess, so to speak. Let's say a a parent is sitting there watching this. I mean, you're springtime. You're thinking about, okay, if we're going to do something before next school year or something like that. What's the closing argument? Why should they come to Calaveras Unified in Calaveras County to?
Well, I'll tell you, if you come here in the springtime and you spend any time in this beautiful country that we're fortunate to live in, I don't think you'll go back. I don't think you'll question that. Then you get to see some of the activities, again, sports and music and all the various things that are happening in our community that are directly connected to the schools, that are directly connected to our kids, that are opportunities for our kids. I can't see where you would want to go back. I came from the city, and for all that you hear about small country life and any negatives that might entail, haven't seen it.
Question, and I think maybe this would resonate, but I know that some people that we've talked to that come from a large metropolitan area and this is the first time they've ever started living in a smaller community, is a lot of them don't even realize what a small town is like until they've been here a couple years. Because I think that's, because lots of times in a large metropolitan area, you may not even know your neighbors next door.
Right.
And I think I think that's an interesting thing. You think of small town America. One of the things that's been amazing on the news side, covering this county for the last 8 years, is look, bad stuff happens here as well as it's happened in any in a large area. Things happen, but it's what happens as a community when things happen that I think in some ways highlight how special it is with Pleasant.
And to me, that level of support, both for the adults in our community, but also for the kids in our community, is the greatest selling point you can ever have. Is that you are not alone, and in tough times especially.
Mm-hmm.
There will be people there for you.
Thank you very much.
No,
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Is that too painful?